Hello friends, today we are going to continue chapter number 9, Fundamental Rights, Fundamental Duties and Directive Principle of State Policy, lecture number 4. Friends, in this chapter we have discussed about human rights and its importance. We discussed that what is human rights. As we discussed in the previous chapter, that these fundamental rights, fundamental duties and directive principle of state policy are the basic features of our constitution. Constitution plays a very important role to govern any country. It specifies the powers and the duties of the head of the countries. It clearly shows that a democratic country works towards the welfare of the people. The ultimate aim or the ultimate goal of any democratic country is the welfare of its citizens. We discussed that the Constitution has given certain rights to our citizen, to each and every citizen of our country, since their birth itself. When a child takes a birth, at that particular second itself, that child starts getting its fundamental rights. Friends, we discussed about these human rights. These are the rights that which a person gets throughout the world. If that person visits any country, that person has these all rights with him. The person can enjoy these rights. They can make their overall development with the help of these rights. And that is why these rights make them secure. They provide them security. They make their development. And that is why these rights are known as human rights. Friends, from these human rights, taking inspiration from these human rights, even our constitution framers, they included certain rights in our constitution which were known as the fundamental rights for our citizen. We discussed that there are total 6 fundamental rights in our constitution: right to equality, right to freedom, right to religion, right to education, right against exploitation, and right to constitutional remedies. Friends, these are the 6 fundamental rights incorporated in our constitution for each and every citizen of our country. Friends, being a citizen of India, it is our duty to know our fundamental rights, that which rights has been given to us by our constitution, so that we can save ourselves from the exploitation in the society. So friends, in the previous lecture, we have started discussing about the different rights in detail. We discussed about the right to equality first, in which we discussed that with the help of this right, each and every citizen of India are treated equally in the eye of law. They are considered equal. They get equal protection before law. There is no discrimination between people in our country on the basis of caste, creed, religion, gender, language, education. No discrimination is seen in our country. All are treated equally in our country. No person is restricted to any kind of public places. So here it is clearly seen that each and every people are treated equally. Here the word was given, treated equally before law. That means if any person goes to the court for obtaining justice, then that person, whether that person is a wealthy person or a poor, it doesn't matter that which profession that person belongs. It doesn't matter which language he speaks. Each and every people, whether the person is a beggar or whether that person is a minister, he is treated equally in the court. And if that person has broke any kind of law, then that person gets the punishment from the court. So friends, here it is said, each and every people are treated equally. We understood the right to freedom, in which we discussed that under right to freedom we get 6 rights, in which we discussed that these 6 rights are given, in which it is said that each and every citizen of India are free to assemble without arms. We can settle in any part of India. We can move within any part of India. Each and every people are treated equally. We are having the freedom of speech and expression. We are also having the right to form any kind of association or unions. And also we are having the freedom of doing any kind of profession, do any kind of business. Friends, these are certain rights, but we learn that these rights is, as we are living in a society, we can enjoy this right with certain restrictions and limitations are also there in these rights. As we are living in a society, we need to take care of other people as well. We need to take care that in the sake of enjoying our freedom, we are not exploiting the right of any other person. If we are spoiling the right of any other person, if we are breaking the right of any other person of enjoying his freedom, then we are considered guilty in the eye of law. So friends, we discussed that 2 rights, that is right to freedom and right to equality in our previous lecture. Today we will continue with learning the other rights in detail. Let us start today our understanding right against exploitation. Right against exploitation. Let us start understanding with the right against exploitation. Friends, whenever you write the rights, please make sure that here you are not doing any kind of mistake. In all the 6 rights, you will have the word to in between: right to religion, right to equality, right to freedom, right to constitutional remedies. But only this right is having right against exploitation. Please make sure that you are not writing to over here, otherwise it will completely change the meaning of this right. This right is said right against exploitation. That means any kind of exploitation that is done with any of the citizen of our country, we can raise our voice against any kind of exploitation. अगर हमारा किसी तरह से भी कहीं भी शोषण होता है, हमारा मिसयूज होता है, तो हम उसके सामने आवाज उठा सकते हैं. राइट अगेंस्ट एक्सप्लॉइटेशन. फ्रेंड्स, मेक श्योर यू आर नॉट राइटिंग टू ओवर हियर. अगर आपने बीच में राइट टू एक्सप्लॉइटेशन लिख दिया तो इसका मीनिंग पूरा चेंज हो जाएगा. राइट टू एक्सप्लॉइटेशन का मतलब होगा कि आपको एक्सप्लॉइट करने का राइट मिल गया. इसका मतलब कि पूरा राइट का मीनिंग चेंज हो जाएगा. आपको एक्सप्लॉइट करने का राइट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने नहीं दिया. आप किसी को एक्सप्लॉइट नहीं कर सकते, आप किसी का शोषण नहीं कर सकते. इसके लिए जब भी ये राइट्स लिखो तो खास याद रखना, टू के जगह पे यहाँ सिर्फ अगेंस्ट ही लिखना है. राइट अगेंस्ट एक्सप्लॉइटेशन. नाउ लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड about right against exploitation. This right, if we talk about this right, that is right against exploitation, safeguards women and children. These right safeguard women and children and others against exploitation in various forms. Friends, here it is said, if any person's exploitation is done in any kind of form, these right safeguards each and everyone. These right safeguards the woman, children, as well as the other people of being exploited in any kind of form. If you have gone in the market to purchase anything, and if you are cheated over there, that is also one kind of exploitation of the consumer. At that time, you play the role of the consumer, of the customer, and at that time, if somebody is cheating you, at that time you are being exploited, and that is why again, in that kind of various form, these right protects you against any kind of exploitation that is done with women, children, and other. These right, if we talk about these right, protects, these right also protects against this right gives the protection against any exploitation like forced labor, like low wages compared to regular wages, low wages compared to regular wages, working in unhygienic and unsafe environment, working in unhygienic and unsafe environment, child labor, etc. Child labor, etc. So friends, here it is said that this right protects against any kind of exploitation that is done with each and every citizen of India. They get the protection against the exploitation like the forced labor. No people has the right to make any person do any kind of work forcefully. Means if that person makes anyone do any kind of work forcefully, right? As you know that in the past, during the British rule, lots of farmers, landowners were there, landlords were there. They used to make the land laborers do lots of work in the farm by giving them little wages. So here, friends, clearly it is said you cannot exploit anyone by making them forced labor. You cannot make anyone do any kind of work forcefully. Then low wages compared to regular wages. Low wages compared to regular wages. If that person is eligible of getting more money, then you cannot exploit them by giving him less money. For example, if you are making any kind of work to be done at your home, if you are hiring any person at your home for doing any kind of work, For example, you need to repair any kind of water pipe at your house, and if you're hiring any plumber for that, but the regular wage, per day wage of that plumber is 200 rupees for doing that particular work, and after doing all that work, if you are giving that plumber only 50 rupees or 25 rupees or 100 rupees, that means you are giving them low wages than the regular wages that are going on in the market. That means you are exploiting that poor people, you are exploiting that plumber, and that is why EID say you cannot exploit anyone by giving low wages that is compared to the regular wages. Then working in unhygienic and unsafe environment. You cannot exploit anyone to do work in any unhygienic and unsafe environment. If that person doesn't want to do any kind of work in a environment which is totally unhygienic for his health, which is totally unsafe for him, then you cannot force that person to work in such kind of environment. It is totally unhygienic and unsafe. Also, the child labor, which is one of the very important form of exploitation nowadays. We know that lots of people in lots of restaurants, dhabas, tea stalls, we see lots of child working over there, and they get very late. As we know, these child laborers, these children are the very least protected in our society. As we know, these children are exploited at the maximum level, because here the owners made these child work at very low wages. They gave them very low wages compared to the regular wages. Also, they can make them work for a long time without any kind of predetermined conditions. They can work in any condition. So friends, they can take maximum work from these children. So maximum exploitation of this child labor is done in our society. So it gives the protection against the child labor as well. Here it is said, under this right, one cannot be biased. Under this right, one cannot be biased in selecting people one cannot be biased in selecting people for carrying out state welfare work, for carrying out state welfare work, military service, or national duty, social service, etc. on the basis of their religion, caste, creed, gender, etc. Here friends, again this exploitation here it is said that under this right no one can be biased in selecting any people for doing any kind of social welfare work, national work, military service work or any kind of work. No one can be biased. So friends, you might have understood about right against exploitation. Now let us understand about right to freedom of religion, that is right to religion. Friends, let us understand now right to freedom of religion, that is right to religion we can say. right to freedom of religion. Friends, here we can understand by the rights itself that here the freedom of religion is given to each and every citizen. India does not have any national religion. Here it is said that India does not have any national religion. We do not have any particular religion for our country. Nor does it follows the ideals or principles of any particular religion. Here, India does not have any national religion of its own. It even does not follow the ideal and principle of any one particular religion. We follow the ideal and principle of every religion in our country. The right, or we can say this right, that means right to freedom of religion, says that every person is permitted. This right says that every person is permitted to enjoy and his conscience permits, is permitted to enjoy his conscience permits, and has the right to acknowledge, and has the right to acknowledge, practice, and spread his religion, and spread his religion. There are certain restrictions. Here we said there are certain restrictions put on this right to maintain. There are certain restrictions also in this right to maintain public law and order, to maintain public law and order, morality, and peace in the country, there are certain restrictions also there in these right, so that public laws and orders are maintained and morality and peace is also maintained in the country. People are free. Here the people are free to conduct and run religious affairs. They can conduct and also run religious affairs. This includes the freedom. These also gives them the freedom to establish and maintain charitable institutions and also to maintain charitable institutions, to manage religious affairs, to manage religious affairs and acquire and manage the movable and immovable property for. They can also move movable and immovable property for religious purpose without going before law. This means each and every people are free to conduct the religion affairs and they can make their institution. They are totally free to establish their institution. This includes the freedom to establish and maintain any kind of charitable institution. They can make any charitable institution to maintain, to manage the religious affairs. They can also acquire and manage movable and immovable properties that is related to their religious institutions without approaching toward the law. They can do any kind of charitable work, they can move any kind of property, they can purchase or sell any kind of religious property for the without going before the law. Each and every citizen of India are free to follow the religion of his own wish. So friends, here you have understand the right to freedom of religion. So friends, today we discussed about the two rights, that is, we discussed about this right to freedom of religion as well as the right against exploitation. So friends, you might have understood about both these rights. We learn about the other two rights in our next lecture. Thank you.